Jay had some interesting things to say about his tenure with the Bears and Justin Fields. You know, he's out there saying that he likes Fields, but he's in essence worried that the same thing is going to happen to Fields that happened to him. I mean, Jay said, he says, like, I like him. He's got the tools, but it's the same problem the Bears have had for a long time. They're turning over coaches and turning over offensive coordinators. It's hard for a quarterback. And I don't think we're going to have the level of turnover that Jay had, which was straight insane. But
hope not.
But it's a valid point. That, I mean, I went back through Cuddy. I got Cuddy trivia for you. 2009 was his first year. Lovey was the head coach. Ron Turner was the offensive coordinator. Greg Olson led the team catching balls with 60. They finished 7-9. All right. Missed the playoffs. His next year, 2010, the one really good year that the team had, 11-5. Lovey the head coach, but they switched to Mike Martz, who was the OC. They lose in the conference championship game. They beat Seattle in the playoffs.
That was tell him to shut the F up, right?
Yep.
On Monday Night Football, right?
Yep. And it was his only playoff win, and he got crushed, by the way, for not playing in the conference championship game because they thought he was soft and that he hadn't torn his MCL, which was ridiculous. But the leading receiver that year, Johnny Knox and Matt Forte, 51 catches. Olsen goes down to 41, and Devin Hester, by the way, had the most targets, 73, and he caught 40. But it just like going back and looking at it, there's just so many changes that occurred in his career. Lovey to Martz. The next year, Martz stays, but he gets hurt. After that, they fire Martz. They bring in Mike Tice. It's the last year of Lovey. He's 10-6. They miss the playoffs again. Then comes Trestman and Aaron Kromer, who ended up selling him out. That's 2013. So you've had two head coaches, four offensive coordinators in his first 5 years. Trestman stays with Kromer in 2014, but they missed the playoffs for the fourth straight year. That brings in John Fox and Adam Gase, the fifth straight year of missing the playoffs. And then Fox fires Gase, and they bring in Dowell Loggins. So in 2016, and they go 3-13. Cuddy plays 5 games. So 6 OCs, 3 head coaches in Cuddy's tenure from 2009 to 2016. Let us pray that is not going to be anywhere close to what happens to Justin Fields.
You can't find a quarterback who's been successful under that kind of turnover. You can't find one, right? It just doesn't happen. Now, some people may say, well, if the quarterback is better, you won't have that kind of turnover. But I think it tends to go the other way around. You have to have a system in place that is going to, one, accentuate what he does well, but also put the pieces around him to be able to succeed. If you're talking about Devin Hester and Johnny Knox, no disrespect to those dudes, right? But those aren't number one receivers, right? That's just not what it is. Greg Olsen, Matt Forte. First 4 or 5 years, he doesn't have a receiver leading him in catches, in yards. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, he gets to the point where he's got Brandon Marshall, now Alshon Jeffrey, and Martellus Bennett, and that's fine. But before that, you don't have those types of things. And I think that he always kind of got a bit of a tough break in terms of public perception. That idea of him not being tough was always terrible. You played behind some O-lines that weren't giving you time. You couldn't get guys open. He was taking hits that a lot of guys couldn't really withstand. He was trying to question him because he had to leave in an NFC Championship game with a torn ligament in his knee. It's like, that's not cool. So I think that he always got a bit of a tough rap. And when you kind of consider all of those things, name me somebody who would have succeeded under that kind of turnover. If Justin goes that same road, he won't succeed either.